I'm Brad Cooper and welcome to Choice Cuts. What's cooking in beef this week? Well, Meat and Livestock Australia has launched its crucial summer beef campaign with a bold bid to reclaim the Aussie barbecue for steak ahead of other competing proteins such as chicken or seafood. The campaign, which fronts Australian comedian and radio host Merrick Watts, aims to have Australians throwing more beef on the barbecue this summer and banding together to let the world know that we love to throw beefsteaks, not shrimps, onto the barbie. Now on to ABC's Another Bloody Business. Well, ABC television claimed its expose of the Pakistani sheep cull was the story the live export industry didn't want told. Yet 24 hours before its Another Bloody Business was screened on Monday night, live exporter Wellard Rural Exports was doing just that, showing the community the industry has learnt from last year's bruising experience through the live export ban to Indonesia. The company was on the front foot on Monday, issuing its own statement and YouTube video featuring Managing Director Stephen Meerwald to present its side of the story and promote the strides the live export business has taken to improve animal welfare. Adelaide scientists will lead a national research effort to hunt for so-called superbugs in Australian livestock. The University of Adelaide's School of Animal and Veterinary Science has received $110,000 in funding from Pfizer Animal Health Australia to conduct a pilot study, which is the first of its kind for the nation. Head researcher Dr. Darren Trott says he expects the study will find a low incidence of resistance to antibiotics, which spells good news for our exporters marketing beef overseas. The beef industry was up in lights at the NAB Agribusiness Awards last week. Queensland family-owned processor Nolan Meats won the Export Award, while New South Wales stud Angus producers Brian and Lucinda Corrigan from Rennie Stud were named Primary Producer of the Year. The award for Nolan Meats is the latest in a string of recent accolades, but Rennie's recognition comes after their entry into the competition was taken something on a whim. Lucinda says they analysed their business last year to coincide with their 25th anniversary, the summary of which formed Rennie's submission to the NAB judging panel this year. Lucinda says it's been a big year for Rennie, with the stud opening up new international doors, especially in South America, where demand for black cattle is booming. The director of MLA midway through her term, Lucinda will also be in Fremantle next week for the organisation's AGM. Australian red meat exports hit record levels during October, with the largest monthly lamb and goat totals ever recorded, while beef set a new October high. Lamb exports for the month were up 36%, while beef shipments totalled 94,147 tonnes. That's up 12% on a corresponding period in 2011. Assessments are still continuing in the US to audit the damage that might create disruption to the beef trade in the wake of the massive storm system which lashed the US coast early last week. US beef importers say they are unable to assess the full impact of the hurricane on business, although as expected trading volumes are reportedly light. Discussions about Australia's increased engagement with Asia couldn't be timed better, with news this week of record high Australian beef exports to China during September. Chinese beef imports for the month surged a staggering 201% compared to this time last year, totalling 5,275 tonnes, according to Global Trade Atlas. And your thirsty paddocks aren't telling you a lie. Rainfall from August to October was below average for most of Australia, with only parts of northern Australia receiving above average rainfall. In contrast, the southern half of Australia received below average falls in the period, with parts of South Australia and Western Australia recording the lowest falls on record. Well, that wraps up Choice Cuts for this week. I'm Brad Cooper. I'll see you next time.